Good evening, everybody. Wednesday, May the 5th, 2021. And we're glad to have you tonight. I'm coming to you about a half hour early if you're watching this live. And, of course, if you're watching this later, it doesn't matter what time I'm coming to you. You can watch it at your own convenience. But we're glad to have you. Glad for those that will join on here in a few minutes. And as we get ready to dive into Bible study tonight, we got an interesting topic we're going to talk about tonight. And one I think that will help some of us now, and it's something to keep handy and remember, because at some point we'll all need this. It'll be something that eventually we'll all experience at some point in life. And many of us have probably gone through it before, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I want to remind you real quick that Sunday is Mother's Day. We hope that you will join us at Beaver Baptist. If you don't have a church home, we'd love to have you. It will be our first service where we're doing what we did before the pandemic started. And so we'll have announcements, prayer requests, birthdays, anniversaries, and then we're going to have congregational singing. We're still going to have the special singing. They're going to rotate through and just going to sing a song apiece moving forward, because we've got other songs to sing. Live stream will be the same. You'll pick up live stream as the special singing starts. And that's just because I don't want to, do a live stream during prayer requests. Some of that we want to keep in-house amongst the church family, talking about certain things. But then if we try to live stream during the congregational singing, a lot of times we get a strike or whatever, because it's copyrighted material. So anyways, we'll pick up 11:30 or thereabouts on Sunday morning with the special singing and the preaching moving right on through. We want all of our mothers to come. Got something for you. I think flowers like you always get, and I don't know exactly who we're recognizing. I haven't talked to anybody if we're recognizing the youngest, the oldest, or whatever. But it'll be a good day to have your children there with you, and so we're looking forward to seeing everybody Sunday morning. Probably we'll do, normally on Mother's Day we don't do a night service, but since I'm doing it at night and doing it here at the house, we'll go on and have a service Sunday night here online. And if you watch it Sunday night or later, it doesn't matter. You catch it whenever you want to, go back and watch it 2 or 3 times if you want to see my lovely smiling face, okay? So I want to talk. We are doing a Bible study out of this book. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's called No More Excuses by Dr. Tony Evans. And we are... we're talking about it. We're just doing a day at a time and going through there. Today we're on day 15, and we're going to talk about, Sunday night. If you didn't see that one, go back and watch that one, because we were talking about dealing with rejection. And we talked about Joseph being put in a pit and sold into slavery. And so tonight we're going to pick up, what do you do when you're rejected by men? All right, the title of tonight's our lesson is Rejected by Men and Protected by God. Rejected by men and protected by God. I told you this is the thing that you either have had this happen or you're going to have this happen, where somebody you cared about rejected you, done you wrong, done you dirty, And what do you do? What do you do when you're rejected? What do you do when you're taken advantage of? What do you do when somebody, a significant person in your life, does you wrong? Maybe it's a spouse who's having an affair, or a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship where you're serious and somebody's stepping out. What do you do if you're dating and you're talking about getting married and one wants to have children and the other one doesn't? What do you do when family members get mad at you and walk away and quit having anything to do with you? It's those types of things we're going to talk about tonight that everybody's going to face at some point or another. That you're going to be you're going to have somebody in your life hurt you, and generally, it's the people closest to us are the ones that hurt us. Now, why is that? Well, because they're the closest to us. They matter more than other people. So, if somebody at work said something to you, you're not nearly going to get as upset as if somebody at your home said something. Why? The people at home mean more. That doesn't mean that the people at your workplace doesn't matter. It just means that their opinion doesn't hold the weight that your family does, or somebody who you call your best friend. And so maybe somebody you trusted turned on you, and you got hung out to dry. Has that ever happened to anybody that's watching this? Somebody you thought was your friend, something happened and they turned around on you. I've heard stories of people in churches. I've heard stories of people who would publicly, something coming up for a business meeting or something like that, and somebody would publicly give support to something, and they come to the business meeting and turn around and vote completely opposite of what they said they were going to vote for. And that's that's discouraging. Be a man or a woman of your word. If you're or don't say anything at all, But if there's people that we need to count on, it's Christian people. Don't do one thing and say one thing and then do another. Say what you mean what you say, do what you say you're going to do. And so sometimes we get hung out to dry. Sometimes the people that we think that we're going to count on are not there when the going gets rough. It's you thought you got sick and you thought you had really good friends, and come to find out that during your sickness, none of your friends showed up. They didn't call. They didn't, they didn't check on you. They didn't, bring, come sit with you, bring something with you. I remember when Pam was pregnant with our daughter, almost 20 years ago. We'll be 20 in December. I got a call at work from her and said they're rushing me to the emergency room. They think I've had a stroke, and her face had drawn, and she couldn't drink water. It was just pouring out of the side of her mouth. Her blood pressure was through the roof, and the one person that has never, he's never let me down. He's always been there for us every time we need him. Is a man by the name of Bill Bales, and he came and sat with us through half the night while she was in the room. We were in the room, had to turn the lights off, and nurses coming in every 5 minutes. Somebody who stayed by your side. And then I've had situations where I had somebody who I thought was a really good friend, a young preacher, a young pastor that I encouraged, that I was mentoring. One Christmas his church didn't give him a Christmas bonus, and he was sort of bummed out about that, because he was hoping to get a little appreciation gift so he could buy his family's Christmas with it. And that moved me, because come on, you ought to be taking care of your pastor at Christmas time. And so I told Pam, I said, listen, we got a nice little Christmas thing from the church. I'm gonna take half of it, and I'm gonna take it over to him so he can have Christmas for his family. And so, I took it over and prayed with him, and give him half of my Christmas bonus so he could take care of his family. And then I talked to him on a certain day that I don't know if I caught him in a bad mood or what it was, but man, he chewed my head off and told me to leave him alone, and that I needed to back off of him. And all I was doing was encouraging him a little bit, trying to encourage him. And he was like, you don't know what I've been through. You just need to back off me, bro. And I was shocked. Where'd this come from? I'm if there's one person in your corner, it's me. And what happened? And unfortunately, that's been 6 months, and I've never heard nothing else from him. So That kind of stuff happens, and it hurts when it happens, especially with somebody that you're trying to help, somebody that you're investing time in and things like that. And so, what do you do in those times? Now, I could have got mad and said, well, let me tell you something. I give you this, and I've done this for you, and I've done that for you, and you're going to treat me like that? Well, let me tell you. Or I could have got mad and said, you know what, I'm not ever going to help anybody else again. I'm not going to be generous with my time, with my money. I'm not going to be any of that. You can do that. And certainly people have done that have allowed situations to turn their heart bitter and to get a little indifferent towards things because they got burnt once or twice. And maybe I'm crazy because I just keep going back to keep throwing my hat in there, just keep trying to love people, point them to Jesus, love people, encouraging them. Joseph got thrown into a pit, rejected by his brothers. He was sold into slavery and ended up at Potiphar's house. Potiphar was a pretty prominent figure in Egypt, and he found favor with Potiphar. And he eventually ends up ruling Potiphar's house. One day, Potiphar's wife, evidently Joseph was an attractive young man, and Joseph's wife wanted to have sex with him. We won't go all old King James, wanted to have relations. We're all adults. She wanted to have sex. And Joseph said, who am I to do this thing to my master? That I would have an affair with his wife behind his back? No, I can't do that. And then she tried to seduce, put him in a position where, look, if you don't do this, and he ran. That's probably a pretty good thing for all of us men. If you ever have in a situation where a woman comes on to you, that you just run, don't even talk, don't even answer no questions, just run. And Joseph ran. And because she was humiliated, because I'm sure she was used to getting what she wanted. I'm sure she was used to everybody doing whatever it was, not just in that regard, but in everything. Because she was used to that, she now goes to her husband, Potiphar, and says, Joseph tried to rape me. Of course, there was no truth to it, but that's what she told him. And so Joseph, long story, trying to go through this, Joseph ends up being in prison. Now, Joseph could have sat in the cell, and he could have felt sorry for himself, and he could have been mad, and he could have been out at the world, and he could have said to heck with everything. But Joseph, in the prison, found favor with the guards and ended up running things in the prison. The guards just trusted Joseph that he would handle things inside there and make sure people got where they needed to be and things got done the way they needed to be done. So Joseph, even in the midst of being wrongly accused and his friend Potiphar turning his back on him and putting him in prison, Joseph made the decision not to stay where he was at. He could have just stayed a prisoner. He could have just stayed upset and bitter. That wasn't his response. He chose a better response. So let me ask you a question. How are you responding to the things that happen to you? Now, I think it's natural. Let's just slow down here for just a minute. I think it's natural when you get done wrong, when you get taken advantage of, when people let you down. I think it's natural to be disappointed, and it's natural to get your feelings hurt, and it's natural to be upset for a little while. I am sure that I have done that to people as well, whether it's when I've left a church going to another, or whatever, that I've made some decisions that I have let people down. And they have every right to be hurt. They have every right to be upset. They have every right to, hey man, what are you doing? And that's okay. And if you're feeling that way tonight, that is A-okay. The problem is staying there. we're humans. We're made up with human emotions, and so, we're gonna go through these types of emotions, but we can't allow ourselves to stay there for 5 years or 10 years, or I know some people that are angry for 20, 30, 40 years. I know a married couple who live in separate places on separate ends of town because of something that happened 40 years ago. They didn't get a divorce on paper, but they don't live together as husband and wife. Are they divorced? In every sense of the imagination, they're divorced. They don't even speak to each other. But we're on paper, so we're good, right? I mean, that's 40 years is a long time to be mad at somebody for something, right? But a lot of us have that. And a lot of us in our families have people that are mad at us, people that won't speak to us, holding a grudge. If you've come from a family where there was somebody died and there was something left to you, man, you're probably going through that. Somebody's mad. I mean, that's the thing that blows me away, and I've seen that 1,000 times in my ministry career. That kind of stuff happening when somebody dies, and this one gets a little bit more than that one, or they think they got a little more, or whatever, and it's just the whole family falls apart. Joseph chose a better response. He chose in the midst of his hurt to be productive. He chose in the middle of his hurt to move forward into using his circumstances and making the best of it. So he's in prison, and he could have said, I'm staying in my cell and I'm going to wallow in this. But he didn't. He got out and ended up being in control of the prison, taking care of things. He advanced up the ladder inside of a prison, if there is such a thing. And so we can do that too. We don't have to allow the circumstance that we find ourselves. I mean, let me give you a practical situation. I'll give you two. The first one's me. Well, both of them are me, but they're both practical. First is health. I'm not able to do what I used to be able to do. As a matter of fact, I had a talk with a young man Sunday morning about moving forward at church. I said, listen, I pulled him aside and I said, hey, I've got this pain pump in my back, and if you feel it, and some of you have, it's right just underneath the skin. And I said, I'm afraid moving forward to try to baptize. I'm afraid of pulling and tugging. And I already had somebody help me, and I've had that for years, somebody helping me do it. But now I'm at the point where I'm afraid I don't need to fall with this thing because it's right there underneath. It's right at the surface of the skin, so I don't need to do that, and I probably don't need to be pulling. So I said, listen, I need your help. I need you to be the official baptizer. Now, we'll do one or two things. I'll stand outside on the platform or stand on the river creek bank if that's where we do it, and I can say the profession of faith, or I can teach you to do it. But my days of baptizing are just about over because of my back. Now, we could say, well, hey, his back is bad, so nobody's going to get baptized. We Baptists don't believe that baptism saves you anyway, so why worry about baptizing somebody? Well, he said, okay, I'll help you any way I can. And so we're just making the best of a situation. I could say through the majority of this pain, I had every reason to stay home and quit. But we're doing what we can with the limitations that we have. The second thing would be, I had at the end of my 13 years in Macedonia, we had a little falling out with a particular family. I'd been at Macedonia 13 years, and I had absolutely no thought of going anywhere. I mean, I was going to retire. That was the place I was going to retire. I love those folks. I think they love me, and that's where I thought I was going to be. And then we had a family that got mad because of some decisions that was made in the business meeting, and they started doing things, taking it out on my family. I didn't know it till a little bit later. Some of the things that were going on, Pam finally told me. Until particular one Sunday morning, this guy come back into church and wanting a fist fight. And, I'm like, whoa, hold up, son. Now, I didn't back down off of him. I went nose to nose with him, and I said, look, we're not doing that here. This is God's house. You didn't get your way in the business meeting. I told you before this all come to it, before we got to this business meeting months ago, I told you that if you didn't help me get some things in order, that this was coming. And so, anyway, long story short, he got out of there. And, as a family, the best thing for us, for my children, Travis was younger when that happened, and he saw it all happen. And, he was just now, this last year or so, it's been where I can go visit, and he don't want, does not call me every 5 minutes, make sure nobody's hurt me. So I resigned. I thought it was best for the church, and I thought it was best for the family. I didn't want waves stirred up. I didn't want to hurt people because I love these folks. And but I made the decision that I was leaving ministry because of what happened. I was tired of it. I was going to leave ministry altogether. After all, I had done 25 years of ministry. I can retire. I'm done. The problem is that God wasn't done with me. And so our response to things, my response to that was I was bitter for quite a long time. And I've told the folks at Beaver, my first year at Beaver was more for me than it was for them, because I was working through my anger. How could this knucklehead mess up everything that God was doing? And why did God let this happen? And all this stuff. And it's those things are natural. God, why did you let this happen? Things were going so well. Things were going. People were growing, and new people were coming in, and people were getting saved. We were baptizing people. Our response now, if I had to do over it again, would my response be different? Yeah. But that's the thing about responses in the moment. We can't change them, but we can move forward. And so, what are you going to do now about what happened to you before? Will you stay where you're at? Will you stay bitter and angry? Or will you move forward and be the person and do the thing that God's called you to do? Maybe you've gone through a season where God is moving you. God is moving you to something else, or to a different church, or to a different ministry, or to serve in a different capacity. Don't allow things that have happened in the past to keep you from pursuing your future. I want you to look at Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. Keeping our eyes on Jesus, the source or the author and perfecter of our faith. For the joy that laid before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Now notice what we're doing here. Keeping our eyes on Jesus. So, I want to give you a couple things real quick. What's the step? I want you to write this down. Here's a big step to overcoming the past. That first step to overcoming the past is realizing that no matter what you do to others, or excuse me, let me say it again. The first step to overcoming the past is realizing that no matter what others do to you, if the Lord is with you, He'll still get you to your destination. Now, this is what Joseph found out, is that even though he was wrongly accused, God promoted him into prison and made him successful. And eventually, Potiphar, eased up on things and let him out of jail, and Joseph becomes the prime minister of Egypt. And Joseph literally saves the nation of Israel because saw the dream of 7 good years of plenty and 7 years of lack, and he told the nation of Israel, for these 7 years we need to store up all the grain that we can get, and so that during the 7 years of lack we'll have enough to get through and also help other people. And so that's what the nation of Egypt done. And so when famine came, Israel was able to go to Egypt and get food to eat, including his family. And so when his brothers come through, Joseph finds out that they're there, and he goes, and he could have said, no, I'm not giving you nothing. I'm not giving you anything to eat. Go back to Israel and die. But he looked at his brothers, and he revealed himself to him. And the brothers were aghast and probably figured that Joseph was going to kill him. But Joseph wept, but he said these words, what you meant for evil, God used for good. And so no matter what we face, no matter what others do to us, if the Lord's with you, He'll still get you where you need to go. So your assignment is to stay with the Lord. No matter what happens, you stay with the Lord. You may change churches, stay with the Lord. You may change ministries, stay with the Lord. You may change friends, stay with the Lord. Whatever it is, you keep your eyes, as Hebrews says, you keep your eyes upon Jesus, who's the author and perfecter of our faith. And, when we do that, that's what Joseph did. He kept looking to Jesus. All these people are doing him wrong. For what reason? Why was he being done wrong? Simply because his father loved him more than the other children. And that wasn't his fault. It ain't like Joseph growed up and said, Daddy loved me better. I want you to love me more than you love everybody else. That didn't happen. His daddy Jacob chose to love him more because he was a child born to him in the old age. So I imagine, the brothers had all grown up and all had gone away, and there's Jacob there in the house, and he's older and, probably not able to work like he used to work. And, now he's got this young man in the house and he can spend time with, and he can train. And, think about it this way. Grandparents. All you parents out there that are now grandparents probably understand this. When you were growing up your children, when you were raising your kids, you were trying to make ends meet. You were working, and you were, working 6-7 days a week, overtime, whatever it was, to make ends meet, to get things so your family would be taken care of, and you didn't have the time, to do every single thing, with your children. But now grandkids come along. You're older. As Billy Ray Barnett said, life is backwards. When you needed the money when you were younger, to take care of your family, but once you get older, you start making a little money. You got a little money. The bills go down as the kids go out, and so you're at a place where you don't have to work as hard, you don't have to work as much, and you can be around more and invest in those grandkids the things you couldn't in your children. Now I understand that. My dad worked second shift, and so he wasn't able to do with me the things that he was able to do with my two kids. Because he worked second. By the time my children come along and got old enough to do with, Dad had retired and was able to be at their ball games and to take them to the park and to do all those things. Now we understand that, right? That, Joseph just happened to be born when his daddy was old. It wasn't his fault. He didn't ask to be born when his daddy was old. He didn't ask for none of it, but here it happens to him. And so you got to remember that no matter what happens, you got to stay with the Lord. You got to keep your eyes on Jesus. And you might be going through a situation right now that's not your fault. Maybe you're being falsely accused, falsely blamed. You just look at Jesus, keep your eyes on him, keep your mouth shut. God will work it all out. So your assignment, again, is to stay with the Lord. If you're hurt, go ahead and get through the grief. Don't deny yourself the grieving process. And you say, well, I'm a Christian, I shouldn't ever grieve. No, listen. It's bull for these people to tell you that you're a Christian, and no, you're human too. And if you've ever gone through somebody doing you wrong, it hurts. Daggone it, it hurts. You go through a divorce, you go through a loss of a job, you get fired unjustly, you get somebody talking about you behind your back, you get somebody that does something on the job to get the raise that you've been trying, or the promotion that you've been trying to get, because they falsely accused you of stuff. That stuff hurts. And you're human. You got every right to be upset. Just don't stay there very long. Okay? But if you don't, some people, if somebody died and they were all the family was very stoic and didn't show any emotion, I'd worry about those people. I don't worry about people that I see weeping and wailing at a funeral, because I know that they're grieving. They're going to be okay. They're going to get through this. So it's okay. If you've been done wrong, you got every right to be upset. What you do not have a right to do is get retribution. That's not your place. Your place is not to get back with somebody. Your place is not to say, well, you know what, I'll get you back. I was young. I'll tell you this little story. I was a young pastor. I was about 22, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood, and I pastored my very first church in Owen County, Kentucky. Now listen, looking back on it, I didn't have a clue what I was doing at 20-some years old. I was preaching the gospel, and I was learning how to preach, but I never led anybody, and I certainly didn't know what I was doing, and I'm sure, looking back on this, I made a ton of mistakes. But I had a man get mad at me. Now, he got mad at me because I wouldn't join an organization that he's a part of. That was the only reason why he got mad at me. I didn't have the time then. I was going to school in Louisville at seminary, trying to finish my degree. I was working full time at the University of Kentucky. I was, me and Pam hadn't been married very long, and the church was 50 miles one way. And so he got mad at me because I wouldn't join this extracurricular activity club that he was in. And so he started making my life really hard. Well, the final straw was I was going to have a preacher in for revival. And if any of y'all remember Brother Gaylord, I was going to have Brother Gaylord come and preach for us. And because Brother Gaylord was a Methodist, he went around to all the church members and told them that I wasn't a very good leader because I was bringing a Methodist into the Baptist church to preach, and he was going to send us all straight to hell because we were having a Methodist in the Baptist church. Oh, Lord. So I ended up resigning. Again, pressure. My greatest regret in ministry is that I left, because I left without permission. I know I just gave up. God didn't tell me to leave. And so I was going to do the right thing, right? I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will stay until you find somebody to be your interim pastor. And then I'll leave. Well, I learned a great lesson about that. 2 weeks is long enough anywhere. When you get ready to leave, when you make that announcement, 2 weeks is plenty, because you're going to hurt a certain segment of people. People are going to be turned off by it. 2 weeks is plenty for your benefit and for the benefit of the church. But I offered to stay, and he cornered me one Sunday morning on the back church. Now, I'm a young man. I don't have any experience, right? And he told me, he said, if you're not gone in 2 weeks, I will start a rumor on you that will ruin you for the rest of your ministry. And I said, look, dude, there's nothing to start on me. There's no rumors. You don't have nothing on me. He said, I will make up something so bad that it will ruin the rest of your ministry. That took me 20 years to get over that. I wish I wished he died. I wish that on him. Because here's a young guy trying to do the right thing, and this is happening. And I was wrong. But for 20 years, I was angry. Now, I didn't often let it show, but that always festered inside of me. Didn't bother him. I was already gone. He'd going on living his life, doing his own thing. I was stewing on it. And I'm like, God, I was a little angry at God on that. I'm like, God, I'm trying to do the right thing. Is all I'm trying to do is help people. And even today, I'm trying to, people get mad at you, people get upset. All I'm trying to do is help people. Listen, I'm not trying to interfere in anything. I'm not trying to do anything other than preach the word and teach you the word that will make your life better. I'm not interested in church politics and any of that stuff. I don't care who gets the credit or who's in charge or any of that stuff. Now, there's a right way and a wrong way to handle things, and I'm always going to steer us to the right way to do things. And if we're not doing the right things, then we're going to start doing the right things, right? But I didn't stay with the Lord in this case. I went through the motions, went back to singing, but I was angry. And I missed out on a lot because I was angry. What I'm telling you tonight is this, as we close this out. What I'm telling you tonight is this, is that you're going to go through times where people do you wrong, where people take advantage of you, where people will sour your good name, where people will let you down. People talk about you. It's just the way it's going to be. We as Christians have to respond to that. Okay, it's okay to get angry, but we can't stay there. We got to move on. We got to move forward. We got to keep our eyes on Jesus. Now, I don't look at anything nowadays other than Jesus. Because believe me, can't anybody be more disappointed in me than me? Because I'm the hardest critic on me. Most of the time when I leave preaching a sermon, I think I've preached the worst sermon ever. I said, man, that's the worst sermon you've ever preached. And then next week I preach one even worse. I'm my own worst critic. But we can't allow others who hurt us, who talk about us, to keep us from our goal. We started out, everybody that's watching this right now, I want you to listen to me real closely, I'm done. You started out on this journey with Jesus because you accepted the fact that Jesus Christ died on a cross for the forgiveness of your sins, right? Is that why you got saved? Because you believed that Jesus loved you and would forgive you of your sins? And you made a commitment somewhere, one Sunday night, Wednesday night, at a church somewhere, in your house, in a hotel room, wherever. You made a decision to trust Jesus with your life, right? Somewhere along the way you said the sinner's prayer. You asked Jesus to come in your heart, forgive you of your sins. Did you do that? And you told Jesus that if he would save you, I'll serve you. I'll put you first. I did that, did you? Somehow or another we get off track when people hurt us and we forget the commitment that we made. I didn't make a commitment to people. I made a commitment to Jesus. So when people decide that they don't want me, or I'm not good enough, or when people decide that they want to talk about me behind my back, or they want to start rumors, or whatever it is, when people do that, you know what I do? Especially now that I'm older, I remember who I committed to. I didn't commit to people. I committed to Jesus. Jesus asked me to serve people. So when I'm serving you, I'm really serving Jesus. I'm serving you because of what Jesus told me to do. And so there are going to be times in your life that you're going to want to give up, and you're going to want to quit. You're going to want to quit going to church, and you're going to want to quit doing the right thing, and you're going to want to quit giving, and you're going to want to quit visiting, and you're going to want to quit reading your Bible because you've had enough. Somebody took advantage of you. Somebody said something they shouldn't. Somebody who was your friend turned on you, and you're not going to have any more friends, and you're not going to trust anybody else, and I'm going to go back into my room or my house, and I'm never coming out again, and I'm never going to be nice to anybody. Who'd you make your commitment to? You told Jesus that you would follow him if he saved you. And he did. He saved you. What other people does not matter, because we didn't commit to them. We committed to Jesus. And so I just want to encourage you tonight that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're feeling, no matter who hurt you, some of you are sitting out there and you need to be in church. It's time. And you say, well, you know, how people, I don't care how church people are. I go to church every Sunday because I made a commitment to Jesus. Now I go, and I would love for our church to be full. Unfortunately, I'm not that good a preacher that's going to fill up I'm just not that good enough. I got buddies that are pastor 400 or 500 member church. They're much better than I am. I'm probably a C minus, right? But I'm not going, and I'm not going to quit because there's only 40 people at church on Sunday. My commitment was to Jesus. Yes, you're allowed to be hurt, but you can't stay there. Move forward. Move forward. Matter of fact, tonight, let's all make a commitment that if we've been hurt, God, I'm leaving it here right now. And I'm going to move forward starting right now, and I'm going to recommit my life to your lordship. And I'm going to serve you regardless of what people say or what people do. Let's pray this together. If you're there tonight, pray this with me. Dear Lord, forgive me for being stuck in this cistern or this well of frustration. Father, I confess that I've allowed somebody to hurt me, something to hurt me, the church. You put whatever in there. I've allowed so-and-so, name their name. I've allowed them to hurt me, and because they've hurt me, it's hurt my relationship with you. Father, tonight, that stops right now. I confess this as a sin. I ask that you forgive me, create in me a heart of flesh, and remove this heart of stone. And starting from this day, I will keep my eyes on the commitment, my first love, Jesus Christ. Father, I recognize that there'll be other hurts that'll come along. When they do, help me to get over them quick, because I've kept my eyes on Jesus and not the people who've offended me. I ask this in Jesus' precious name. Amen. If you prayed that tonight, get up off your feet. Start. Get back in church. Get back on the horse. Get back into doing what you need to be doing. Get back into encouraging other people. Get back into being the people person God's called you to be. Get back to doing. Quit pausing your life. God's got a lot for you. And so the first step to overcoming the past is realizing no matter what others do to you, if the Lord is with you, you're still going to get to your destination. And for all you watching, I pray God's with you. You keep your eyes on Him, and everything is going to be all right. God bless you. If you want to leave a comment, a note, feel free to do so. If you want to drop me an inbox, a private inbox, telling me you want to share something with me, I'd be glad to pray with you. You can leave an inbox on the Beaver Baptist Church page. You can drop me an inbox on my page. If you're not friends with me, go to my page, Kevin Strausbaugh. It's there. Listen, if you're out of the game, it's Mother's Day. We'd love to have you on Sunday. We'll love on you. and we'll help you get back on the right path. Life's too short. Don't hold on to the bitterness of yesterday. Reach for what He's got for you tomorrow. God bless you. We love you. Bye-bye.